environmental stewardship. That means you want to preserve something for not for your use, not for your future generations use, just you want that stewardship. So in a sense, you are putting value to the ecosystem function. I mean, you understand the importance of that facility, that species as a part of ecosystem. That's why you are right. Okay. So, right now let us come to the drawbacks of this system. So there are certain biases, right? So what are those biases? Actually, the overall criticism of contingent valuation method is similar to the criticism of other methods. So that is a common criticism. That is, we cannot monetize any environmental service. So that is a general argument. So ecologists, they say that, and those are actually talking about precautionary principle. So when we, so there are several methods of, look at the benefit of any environmental policy, right? So one of the approach we will discuss after this discussion, that is cost benefit analysis. But then there is a precautionary approach, that is the extreme approach. Ecologists always talk about the precautionary approach. What does it mean? Because you want to save something, you know that environment is in danger, ecology is in danger. So just stop every activity which has potential to harm ecology. For example, if you have an ecologically sensitive area, let's say Western Ghats, or maybe Lower Himalaya, Shivalik region, again a very sensitive ecological area. So precautionary principle says that you stop everything. You know that this area is ecologically sensitive. So any activity, any human activity, any anthropogenic activity is going to harm the ecology of this area, right? So stop any such activity which can harm. Okay. So it does not require any valuation, no comparison, right? So why we are doing valuation? You must have understood. So the example which I took in the last class of Bangkok, so they did the valuation of a central park, right? And what was the purpose? So that they can pitch this value against the developers, those who are saying that this park has got zero value for municipal corporation since they charge minimal fee for entry. We are offering huge sum of money to municipal corporation as we will be converting this land mass into some commercial complex, and against that we will be paying it to the. So through valuation, what ecologists or what economists did was they created a monetary value. So if you remember, I told you that through contingent valuation method, they found the value approximately $60 million, right? So now they say that this land mass has got its own value, which is $60 million, right? But precautionary principle says, let's not get into calculating the value. Let's simply say, this is a central park, this is a facility, this should not be touched, right? So, and this is normally possible, especially for the area which are ecologically present. You understand?
Excuse me.
Precautionary principle? I can take another example, more practical example, so that you understand. I believe that all of you must have traveled in plane, or many of you, not all of you, then many of you. So when you look at the announcement, what kind of announcement aircrew, what kind of announcement they make? One of course is related to seatbelt and other thing. The next announcement they say that please switch off all your electronic gadgets. So how many of you noticed that? How many of you have traveled by air? Raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by air. 7. So all of you have noticed this announcement. Please switch off your mobile phone or bring it to airplane mode. And normally you do that, isn't it? But there is no scientific evidence of these electronic gadgets interfering, and normally they say that it will interfere with the communication, right, or navigation. But there are no scientific evidence, or there is no research article published on this electronic gadget versus the safety of, and they always say that it is related to the safety. Okay. Now, if that is so, then why are they announcing? Or the next level question can be, why can't they establish a correlationship between the safety of plane and switching on the communication device? So let me ask the second question first. Can they establish a correlation between the safety and switching on the electronic devices? Is it possible or not? Huh? Possible? She says possible. Anyone else? So they can do it? Yes or no? Why no?
If they had to do it, then they just had done it till now, but they do not have enough evidence to do so.
No, but why are they not able to arrange those evidences?
No idea.
No idea? Anyone? It's a very common sense. Very simple answer. So correlation will be established. How a correlation is established? In any experiment, one is indirect variable, another is direct variable. So what is the indirect variable in this case? So there is a correlation between switching on the electronic devices and what is the indirect variable?
Interference.
Okay, and what is the outcome of that?
Accidents. Problem in communication.
Someone said accident. Accident, safety. So what will happen? So who is going to get ready for this experiment? Nobody, not even pilot. So this experiment is not possible in real sense. In reality it cannot happen, it can happen through simulation, that's all. But then simulation also need to be validated through field experiment. So what is there that field experiment is not possible as of now? Maybe we have some advanced simulator in future, we can do that. So what they are doing? They are saying that this is not allowed. Okay? And many times we see that people, they don't do it. Some people keep on using it. Right? But we should not do it because we do not know. So that is why they keep on insisting. And whenever this crew finds that someone is using phone, they come to him or her and say that please stop using it and switch it off. They do it. Very religiously they do it without having any scientific evidence. But the problem is the change, if they do it, so the change is irreversible. What is the change? If accident happens, then all lives in the plane are at risk. That is irreversible. So you cannot, once they are dead, right? Same is true with ecology. Same is true with environmental services, right? So ecologists, they always favor that. They always say that we should follow the precautionary principle. Wherever we know that, so there is no, cost versus benefit thing. We should always think that this is ecologically, this will bring irreversible changes. This is going to have, and then there is uncertainty. So let us not. However, in practicality, that's not possible. That is possible only for few services where we are sure that this is going to happen. Disaster is going to happen. We have so many examples. We all know, and every time there is a disaster, we have a lot of discussion, isn't it? So, when disaster happened in Kedarnath, everybody discussed that and then everybody suggested, or there were a lot of reports, scientific studies, and they all said that this kind of development is not good in this type of hilly regions. Okay? This will lead to disaster. But have we stopped that? No, because it is our tendency, human tendency, that we will always go for cost versus benefit. Okay. How many times we experience flood in Delhi? Okay, let me share one very. You must have seen Ring Road. Ring Road, you know, in Delhi? हाँ? कितने लोगों को नहीं पता Ring Road? So most of the class know about the Ring Road. So Ring Road is actually, if you travel from Ames, all of you know, right? So that is the Ring Road. So when you travel on that road, after Ames there is South X, then Lajpat Nagar, right? So you keep on traveling, then there is a ISBT, Sarai Kali Khan's ISBT. So you know that you are actually, that part, you are running parallel to Yamuna. And you keep on traveling till north, the same road. So you keep on traveling to Wazirabad, where actually Yamuna is entering into Delhi. So right from, you can say, approximately near to Ashram till Wazirabad, you are actually running parallel to Yamuna. And you know what is, so when this ring road was built, or when this section of the ring road was built, there was a very big flood in 70s in Delhi. Right? Actually this is floodplain. So ring road is nothing but a bund on floodplain. Floodplain, all of you understand? River has got its own space. So when river swells, it occupies certain space. That is called floodplain. Right? So actually we should not get into floodplain. When we say that due to flood, this has happened, that has happened, disaster has happened, it is not because it is not the fault of river. It is our fault. Because the river has its own floodplain. Okay? So river normally does not, very rare. So only few rivers are there, those who change. So for example, one river in Bihar, Kosi. So meandering of Kosi is too much. So it changes its course very fast. Otherwise, most of the big rivers all across the world, they have their own floodplain. Okay? It is our problem that we are entering into the floodplain. And why we take this risk? Because we have certain data. So not every year river is occupying the complete space. Right? Other than that also we encroach. So we have an understanding of the flooding. So flooding in Delhi actually happens very rarely. So people are living very peacefully in that floodplain. We have whole Commonwealth village in the floodplain. We have this complete road in the floodplain. Several residential colonies in the floodplain, right? So the common tendency is that we always take risk. Humans have this common habit, we take risk, right? So if you look at that point, if you keep that viewpoint in mind, then it is always good to have some monetary value of your environmental service, so that at least you have some reference plane you can discuss. Otherwise, nobody is going to listen to you. So, right, so I think that criticism is there, but other than that, there is a criticism regarding contingent valuation method, regarding the biases, and that is basically about the survey, right? So the first bias is strategic bias. Means strategically people are refusing to reveal the true value of. So ultimately you are capturing their willingness, and strategically they decide that, or strategically they decide that they will overvalue. This actually happened when this protest against RA project happened in Bombay. So strategically, people around the world, they came together and they decided to overvalue, right? Sometimes, but most of the time it happens in negative sense. So they value all aspects. I mean, they consider all the aspects, but when you ask them how much you would like to pay, they say no, zero. Because everyone wants to be a free rider. They want that there should be preservation. But I am not willing to pay for that. Okay? So this is strategic bias. Information bias. Already I have talked about that. Scenario building should be very good. So sometimes people don't have information, especially existence. I am able to tell them about the future option for them. I am able to tell them about the possible usage for their future generation, but I fail in telling them about the very existence of this facility. So there is always a possibility of information bias. Hypothetical bias, sometimes overvalue, because actually you are not paying. It just take one tick. Are you ready to pay 1,000 rupees? Yes, I am ready to pay 1,000 rupees. Are you ready to pay 1 lakh rupees? Yes, I am ready to pay. Because actually there is no transaction. So, right? And one of the real challenges is the respondents. Grouping of respondents. So different respondents. But there are some mechanisms suggested by some of the researchers. So for example, they say that instead of capturing the absolute money, capture the value in terms of their income. Let's say you can ask, so when you are collecting the demographic data, just ask about their income, rough income, and then finally ask that how much percentage of your income you are ready to put into this. Or maybe instead of money, you ask them about the time and then convert this time into productive time and so on. Anyway, so let me just show you, Rita, can we show this table? That example of Colorado Park, and I'll show you with the data that how much, how important non-use value is, right? And then we'll do the comparison. I can save some time. Anyway, okay, yes. So I'll just share some data with you. Maybe the total value that will be shown. So there were three options given. One option was this is the park with this area 1.2 million hectares. There were three proposals. One to increase it to 2.6 million. Another is to increase it to 5 million. And third one was 10 million. Now you will see if you are not capturing, so we will be talking about two things. One, it is related to demand curve. Two, it is willingness. Three, importance of non-use value. Okay. Right. So total value was $28.5, $41.6, $60, and $93. So what do you see? The proportion. You see the proportion? It is almost doubling. 1.2, 2.6, 5, 10. But willingness is not increasing in that proportion. Right? In fact, with increase in area, the ratio of increase is decreasing. Why? Because you know that demand decreases with increasing availability. So basically it is a demand for, so one of our hypotheses is true, that willingness in this case is nothing but the demand for that. Okay. Second, the different component. Okay, let me just divide this. Anyone I can this one I can take. So this is 13.2 and 15.3. Two components, use value and non-use value. And this 15.3 is divided in 4.4, 5.4 and 5.5. This is option, this is bequest, this is existence. Again I am repeating. So with this acreage, with this 1.2 million hectare, this was the value, $28.5 million. With 10 million, the value was 93 million. Increase in the value is not proportional to increase in the area. So this is almost 8 times. But the increase in the value is not 8 times. It is increasing but not in the same proportion. So it indicates that it is so marginal utility is decreasing, so it is a demand curve. Right? 2. This $28.5 million, the value of 1.2 million hectare national park. This has got two components. One, $13.2 million as per the use value, and 15.3 as per the non-use value. Right? Out of this non-use value, 4.4 million is because of optional value, 5.4 million is because of the bequest, and 5.5 from the existence. So you can see roughly 50%, and this of course non-use value. If you look at the last option, this is total is 93, this is 58.2, and this is non-use value is 35. So this, even in this case, 10 million hectare, non-use value is almost 40%. In this case, it is more than 50%. So you can understand, if you are not capturing non-use value of any environmental service, you are missing a huge component, right? Grossly undervalued, right? Third, you can see that option bequest in existence. People are willing to pay almost, this is almost how much? 20%, almost 20%. In this case, it is how much? 12.5, yes. So existence in this case is $12.5 million. Around 12-13%. So this value, more than 12-13%, people are willing to pay for existence of that service, right? So, okay, so this is what I wanted to discuss with you. Now, if you make a comparison between, so as I already discussed this before, not a single approach is useful, but we have to see. So, for example, there is a loss in the crop, loss in agriculture crop, aquaculture crop. We know that it is a simple case. We can get the value through market valuation approach. Simple, right? There is an environmental nuisance. Okay, noise, odor, anything like that. Hedonic pricing approach. Property method is used. But this value will be use value, right? If there is a, and then nuisance value sometimes also has got risk component, hazard component, then human health. So that also we can capture through. So then hedonic pricing approach will have two components. One is property pricing method, another is this, you can capture the mortality or morbidity risk. Any recreational facility, either you can use travel cost method, use value, but then contingent valuation method for capturing use and non-use value both. Right, so let us stop this discussion here itself. Let us go to another topic. Now you have understanding about monetary value of any environmental project, but ultimately you have to take a call, you have to take a decision. So in reality, what is happening? If there is a project, if there is a development project, let's compare two different projects. One, any environmental project, another, any development project. Okay. Let's say we decide to build a dam, or we decide to construct a road. Okay. So whether to construct the road or whether not to construct a road, how we take a decision, how do we take a call on that? Okay, let us come to a very different question. You have some money with you, you have to invest this money. Now you will understand it better. So there are 2-3 options. Okay, either you can invest in project A, project B, or project C. Now how will you take a call, or how will you take a decision?
Based on output.
based on
Output.
Maximum profit.
returns. Okay. So this you understand better. So when it comes to investment, yes. So here also we have to invest in a project, right? So again the same comparison. So we see the rate of return. So there can be so many parameters. So one is breaking point, another is, so maybe some of you have gone through that part of economics. So rate of return can be one thing, break-even point can be one thing, isn't it? Okay, fine. But if you are talking about a project which is making an impact on environment, then how would you take a decision? So the problem with a project which is having environmental impact, so far as statutory requirement is concerned, we do the environmental impact assessment. So we don't take a decision whether to go for a project or not. What we do, we analyze the impact of the project on environment. Decision is already made. We take a so environmental impact assessment is one module in this course. We'll study about that. But what we do, so there is this EIA is a technique through which we analyze the impact of a project on the environment, right? And then based on that we make a mitigation plan. We call it environmental mitigation plan or environmental management plan. What does it mean? The decision of the project is already taken. Based on the project we are analyzing the impact and then we are going for the mitigation plan. So what I am saying here, what I am trying to say here is that, like, you have two options for investing money, project A and project B. You compare based on rate of return. Here also we can make a comparison. A single project, let's say this Lumbini Park is. One is removing this park or selling it to a builder, make a residential project, it will give some return. Then there is a environmental valuation of that project. Let's compare them. Whichever giving us the higher value, take the decision. Okay. So this is another way of making comparison in two projects or a single project, whether to take it or not. So there can be two different situations. One, comparing two projects. Another, whether the project to be taken or not. Right? And now we know how to calculate the environmental benefit. Some part we have seen. So this methodology is known as cost benefit analysis, very popular in economists. So for any investment decision, they do cost benefit analysis, and this is based on principle of optimality. So first we will talk about that, and then we will move to the next thing. Okay, so there are two principles, right? One is what we call actual Pareto, and another is called potential Pareto. Let's talk about the difference, and then what I am trying to say, let's build the hypothesis for that. This is a curve for factor of production. So normally we make a production frontier curve. This is a production frontier. We all know that resources are limited. Suppose we have X amount of resources, right? So what we do, we invest this into making product A and product B, right? So we have to take a call whether we want to go for A or B. So how we make the production frontier curve? Very quickly. So it is like this. So if we utilize the X amount of resources fully, then we have a table like this: 5, 1, or let's say 20, 0, 19, 2, 17, 5. Let me explain this. It means if you are utilizing, and every time, for every case, I am utilizing whole amount of X. So there are different combinations. Either I can produce 20 unit of A and 0 unit of B, or if I want to produce 2 unit of B, then I can only produce 19 unit of A, right? Or there is a combination 17, 5. So basically these are the points here. So if this is 20, 0, then maybe 19, 2 or 17, 5. You got it? So this is how we utilize our resources optimally. So this is a very simplified example I am giving. Okay. So we always try to operate on frontier. We never try to operate below this, because then that will be suboptimal utilization of the resources, right? Okay. Fine. So similar to this, if I make a curve for any environmental project or environmental quality, let's say, and this is goods and goods and services, G and S, not GST, G and S, goods and services. So what it indicates, if I produce this much, the environmental quality will be very poor. So there is a trade-off. Like here there is a trade-off between A and B. Okay. So here also there is a trade-off between environmental quality and goods. If I want this level of environmental quality, I can produce only this. Okay. If I want pristine environment, so I operate normally on this curve. And that already we have seen, optimal level of pollution, everything. So every time we are on this curve. You got it? Right. So actual Pareto says that when we take a call, whenever there is a optimization problem, always a decision considered to be actual Pareto or qualifying the actual Pareto principle if none of the party is worsened off, means all of them are getting benefit. Okay. Let's again come back to this frontier. I am operating here. If I move to this point, am I benefiting both goods and service and environmental quality? Yes or no? I am improving the environmental quality at the cost of goods and services. If I move from this point to this point, I am benefiting goods and services, but so let's say I replace this G and S and environmental quality with people. Some people who are getting benefit with better environmental quality, some people who are benefited with goods and services. So in no way, if I move left or right, no way I can create a situation where both entities are getting benefited. Isn't it very clear? So actually if I am operating, and when it is possible, suppose I am operating here. Inside the frontier curve, if I am operating. If I move to this direction, I am improving the environmental quality. but at the same time there is no loss to the goods and services. Or if I move towards this, environmental quality remains same, right? So hypothetically, this actual Pareto is possible only if I am operating in suboptimal condition. If I am operating below this frontier curve here, that means I am not operating at optimal conditions. Got it? Or even I can move in this direction, where environmental quality is also improving and goods and services is also improving. But then this should not be the case, because this means that I am operating at a suboptimal level. Right? Hypothetically, I am assuming that I am operating at optimal level. In that case, I can only move either improving GS or improving environmental quality. So, actual Pareto says that in any decision, what happens? Some people are getting worse and some people are getting better off. So, here are the people, those who are getting benefit due to the better improved environmental quality. Here are the people, those who are benefited because of the increased goods and services, increased production of goods and services. So this has got some value. This has got some value. Let's compare. Cost and benefit. So suppose we are moving in this direction. People are getting benefit because of that benefit. I am moving downward, there will be loss, that means there is a cost. So benefit versus cost, CBA. That is what we did on. So this is the basic principle on which cost benefit analysis is based upon, that is potential Pareto. So let's compare cost versus, so we are accepting, next presentation, we are accepting the fact that this is not possible theoretically or practically. So let's operate wherever we have benefit more than, okay. Now there are few challenges. Okay. So this cost benefit analysis we have to do for environmental projects. When I say environmental projects, I already clarified there are two possibilities. One, there is a project, development project actually, which is affecting environmental in negative sense. Two, there is an environmental project which is creating some environmental resource, environmental service. First example of first type of project, road project, dam project, or any such project, which is degrading the environment. Another is any national park project, or any forestation project, or any regulation related to improved air quality or water quality. Right? Okay. Let's start. So when you talk about cost and benefit analysis here, I told you that this environmental quality, some people are affecting this with this environmental quality. Now, who are these people? Which is the social group which is getting affected with this project? That is a major question we need to answer. Let me explain it more. Let's think about a hydropower dam project. Okay? If my social group is people living around this hydropower project, let's say this hydropower project is in Ladakh. So what are the benefits of hydropower projects? What are the benefits of any hydropower project? Quickly. Hydropower project, all of you understand? Hydropower project.
Jobs.
Let me ask this question first. Who does not understand hydropower project? Okay, thanks. So one is production of, another is come on.
Jobs मिलती है आसपास में.
Okay. What else?
Prevent
I'm talking about direct benefit.
prevention of floods.
Oh, so what? This storage of water is used for what? Irrigation. So there are three direct benefit of any power project or any reservoir based hydropower project.
Control.
One is electricity, another is irrigation, third is flood control.
Yes.
Right? I do not know whether actually there is a flood control or not, but anyway, so these are the direct benefits. Okay, what are the losses? Habitat loss. What else? What else? Displacement. So you need a bigger catchment, so you will be displacing people out of that area. So many people will be losing their livelihood. Now he says that they will get the job, but they were actually traditionally doing the farming, for example, right? So they are moving away from, they are displaced from their habitat, they are displaced from their livelihood. So let's see the benefit and social groups related to benefit and the losses. So which is the social group which is bearing the loss? Locals. If there is a project in Ladakh, are you getting affected? But who is, let's talk about the social group getting the benefit. Who is getting the benefit? Electricity. Will they be consuming the whole electricity? You know, there is a very recent incident in Bangladesh, isn't it? From where they were getting electricity? A lot of share of Bangladesh electricity is going from Adani power project. Adani makes electricity, they don't have electricity at their home. So that means it is going, we are exporting electricity. So similarly, if some hydropower project is producing electricity in Leh, very small fraction of this electricity is going to the local people. One, because of their demand. Two, they don't have capacity to buy it. Many times there is a question that why are not we giving electricity to the locals? If they can afford, any company would like to sell it to them also. Right? So these social groups are different. So, very interestingly, for any project or any policy program, I can write three terms: output, outcome, and impact. Output will be very local. Outcome will be, so output can be, for example, a direct income. So suppose there is a project, outcome of that is that few people got employment and they got salary. This is the output. That 10 people got the job. Outcome can be, if 10 people are getting job, their family has got enhanced income. So outcome can be, maybe they have started sending their children to school, maybe they have started eating nutritious food, or so many things. So outcome is related to, so outcome is slightly broader than output, and impact can be more general. Maybe when you look at the national income, when you look at the national literacy rate. So same here, benefit. So suppose you do a cost benefit analysis for local group. What you will see, benefit is very small, cost is very high. The moment you change the social group, you consider the whole nation or maybe the region as a social group, benefit will be more, cost will be less. So you have to make a very judicious call. Social group is very, very important while doing CBA, cost benefit analysis of any environmental project. Second, identify and measure the physical and biological changes that should be measured, because right now we have understood how to calculate how to do the monetary valuation of environmental services. So because of any project, if there is any change in environment, positive or negative, we will be able to value until for that we need to first identify the changes, right? Sometimes changes are quick, immediate, sometimes changes are to be seen in time to come, right? So for that we need this is again a very tedious exercise. Third, estimate the cost and benefit of changes. This we will discuss. So sometimes the cost is out of pocket cost or benefit is out of in pocket benefit, but then and that part we already know that because of externality there are costs and benefits which need to be understood through environmental valuation method or something like that. And then compare cost and benefit. Now comparing cost and benefit, what does it mean? This, right. How do we compare cost and benefit? One simple way is cost minus benefit. But do we incur cost and do we receive benefit at the same time frame? No. So what do we do in such cases? So suppose we are investing today something, return will be after a year, or perpetually it will be coming to us, let's say for 20 years, isn't it? Or maybe after 5 years I need to invest something. So cost also may be incurring at a regular interval or maybe intermittent interval. So how do we bring all of that at one level?
Divide by the rate of interest and calculate it at a single point of time.
So how do we do that? At a single point of time. Suppose I need to I'm in need of say 100 rupees after 5 years, right? So how much money would I deposit in the bank? I need 100 rupees after 5 years. Exactly. So will I be depositing 100 rupees today? So how much I will be depositing? Depending on the interest rate. So good answer. And how will I calculate that? So there is a formula, simple. So what actually we are doing is we are calculating the present worth. This is how we calculate EMI and everything, right? So what is an EMI? So when we take loan, do we pay every month? Do we pay different amount or same amount? Same amount. So they calculate depending on the present worth. They divide it into that's a different calculation. But we are interested in present worth. Maybe the cost which we will be doing after 5 years, or maybe the benefit which I will be getting after 5 years. All of that should come at one point of time. Time frame should be the present. So this is how we do it. So we calculate net present value by summation of. So what will be happening? So if there is a project life 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, let's say, there is a cost, there is a benefit, C1, B1, C2, B2. So C1 minus B1, let's say, this is something which we did now. How to bring this? So C2 minus B1, C2 minus B2, this will be the net benefit or net cost after 1 year. So how to bring this? So what is that factor?
1 plus
1 plus
R. Free interest.
divided by 1 plus R. So it is a simple factor, 1 upon 1 plus R. Simple. So this is the factor, this is 1 upon 1 plus R is 2 to the power n or t, whatever. So again, after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, we keep on doing that. The summation of all that will be, and the decision is, if C minus, this is NPV is positive, then investment is worth. If NPV is negative, investment is not worth. It is as simple as that. But okay, let's quickly understand 2 or 3 things, and then I will move to the very important aspect of this. So one is that what is the difference between the, so here if we are involved in an environmental project or any project which is making impact on environment, benefit as well as cost should be social benefit, social cost. Okay. So benefit, we have to include producer surplus and consumer surplus both, but I will come to the next part, the cost. And in the cost, sometimes we have to, I am not repeating the valuation methods that we have already covered. So sometimes what happens in the cost, there is a fear of double counting. Okay. What does it mean? Let's say we decided to, so this is an example where we decided to increase the forest cover, right? So what will be the benefit in this case? There will be environmental benefit. We will do calculation based on contingent valuation method. You remember the example? You know. Now what is the cost? So cost we will be calculating through the opportunity cost method. Means when we increase the forest area, that means we have stopped cutting of the tree, right? So these tree, we are calling them lumbers, the cut trees, they have certain cost in the market. Okay, let me explain this. So project is increasing forest cover. So what are benefits? So benefits are environmental benefit, right? So this we will be doing through contingent valuation method. Option value, bequest value, right? And what is the cost? Cost is mostly the opportunity cost. So if we are taking this project, what we are saying, we are not allowing the cutting of trees. We are not allowing the harvest from the forest, non-timber produced from the forest. We are stopping commercial activities, isn't it? So that is the cost, right? So cost is we stop. So what will be the impact of this cost? This decision. If we stop producing lumbers from this forest, so total output in the market will be lesser, isn't it? And its result would be increasing cost. So that is the opportunity cost, na? So that is how I will calculate the cost of this project, right? So this you can see acreage of land versus production of. So earlier we were producing this G naught was the production. Now we are producing G, right? And the cost of timber, just read this number as timber, per cubic feet or per cubic meter is increased from, so production has gone from G naught to G1, production on both. So it is gone down or decreasing, and this is increasing. Price went up, production gone down. So okay, so this loss will be N1 minus N naught and whatever is the output, right? So this is the cost. Now the fear of doubling is because of this, it is possible that there will be impact on the cost of housing, cost of other things, right? So that is a secondary effect, right? That is a secondary effect which is not, and that is known as inflationary impact, which is not, which should not be considered as an opportunity. So whatever is the direct impact, we should include that only, right? Okay. This is the thing which I wanted to highlight. Let us come to the very important aspect of this. So here if you see, two things are important. One is R, another is M. Time and discount rate. When you go to a bank for depositing your money, what is your expectation? What should be the interest rate? Huh? Should it be more or less? More. And when you go to a bank for lending, then what is your expectation? Less. And what is the business model of a bank? Is it possible for a bank to give higher discount on deposit and lower discount on lending? So always it has to be more. So their earning is basically because of. Alright. So what is the interest rate? Do you have any idea in India?
7.
For saving? Forget about that is negligible, but any long-term deposit? 7.5. What is the lending rate? 10%, 12%. So there are a few questions related to this. One, do we have, so what is your understanding about interest rate in US? Should it be more? Those who know these interest rates, please don't answer. Those who do not know the interest rate in US, those should answer. So what is your guess about deposit interest rate in US? More than India or less than India? More? Who says less? Someone said yes. So why do you think that interest rate in US will be more?
Yes, random.
But random guess also should have some random rationale. Because we feel that they are the developed economy and they should give high returns. Isn't it? Is that the rationale? Okay. What is the lending rate? What is your expectation about lending rate?
The lending rate should be lower.
But I told you that lending rate cannot be lower than deposit rate. If lending rate is lower, then obviously the deposit rate will be. So here you make a lot of hue and cry on 7 or 8% deposit rate. But you go to Singapore, US, probably you will not even get 0.5% or 1% sometimes. It is almost, 2% is a very good interest rate. And that is how they are able to give you, they are able to lend at 3% or 3.5%. Many times we hear that Japan has given us loan on zero interest. Isn't it? For a project, a country has given India huge sum of money at 0% interest rate. And we become very glad and very thankful to that country. Isn't it? That they are very generous that they have given us. So actually we are not demanding that money. They are interested in giving us that loan. Very interesting. You should understand this whole business of discount rate. So normally a healthy economy is always preferred to. Okay, let me ask another question. Anyone belongs to any business family? No. Okay. You go to a bank and you get different products. For different loan, you find different interest rate. It also depends on your. So, have you heard this term credit rating? Credit rating. So many times nowadays, a lot of apps are there. They keep on sending you those rubbish messages. They say that your credit rating is this much, your this much loan is approved. Or if you go to a bank and ask them to make a credit card, if you ask them to make a credit card, they set your limit. How they set your limit? So there are two things. One is your capacity to pay back, another is your credibility. So what is credibility actually? If you look at the financial market, credibility is nothing but the risk. And that is why you have different discount rate, different interest rate you can say. Actually the right term is discount rate for different products. Riskier is the product, higher will be the discount rate. What does it mean? Do we believe that whatever bank lend to lenders, do they receive back all the money? You must have heard about NPA, right? So bank always or lender always take a risk, right? And the risk is covered by discount rate, and that is the actual definition of discount rate. So when I give a loan to anyone, I am discounting this money. So it's just like that. I am giving to you 100 rupee loan. You ask me 100 rupee loan. Actually, I am not giving you 100 rupees. I am just giving you 80 rupees or 90 rupees. 10 rupees I am keeping as discount. Right? So suppose I am investing in 10 people and I know that surely they will be returning my money. So what I do? Okay, you just give me 5% discount. Fine? because I know that all of them will give me back. So I'll just keep inflation in mind and decide that okay, if they return this money to me after 1 year, so I'll just keep inflation in mind and I'll charge that discount. Okay, you give me 105 rupees. But if I know, if I am giving money to 10 people and I am expecting, or a same person 10 times I am giving money to the same person, then, and if I know that he only 7 times he will be paying it back to me, right? So then what will I do? I will charge heavy discount rate so that I can cover my losses. So discount rate, the value of discount rate is directly proportional to risk or uncertainty. If Adani is, if people are very much worried about Adani or the loan given to Adani, so one of their point is that he is investing heavily in infrastructure. So infrastructure projects are long-term projects. Return will come after 10 years, 20 years. They are risky projects. So if those projects get failed, what will happen to them? But from his point of view, he is taking risk, right? And that is why he is getting high returns. That is another part. So risk means higher return for both lenders as well as the investor, or higher loss, extreme. Either he will be ruined or he will become king. That is why, so there is a parallel financial market in India that we call non-banking financial sector nowadays as per the regulation. But since ages in India, there has been a traditional financial market. And many times we hear a lot of bad words about that informal financial market. So there is a one, so Jewish across the world, they were the traditional financiers. In India also, we have various communities. So actually they don't exploit everyone. So when we hear about the higher lending rate, it actually relates to the risk to whom they have given this loan, right? So it varies. Same market, you'll get loan at 12% rate, 10% rate, or even 60% rate. Do you think that banking sector is fulfilling the need, all financial needs of the society or business community? No. So banking sector, especially the public sector banks, they have certain capacity of taking risk. So they will not, so they have certain products. They are ready to give loan for certain activities. For some activities, they are not ready. That's why we have informal financial market. People there, they are ready to take risk. They are paying, they are giving loans, but taking higher. So suppose I am doing export, I have a shipping business. I am sure that I will not get any loan less than 30% or 40%. Right? So what I am trying to say that value of R is very, very important, and this is all related to risk. Okay? Difference, if you want to see, I have shown two examples. 5% interest rate and 10% interest rate. It tells you the story between the difference of two interest rate as well as the relationship of the worth of money with time. So after 90 years, the value of 1 rupee today means if I need 1 rupee today, then after 90 years, its value will be 1 paisa. And if the interest rate is 10%, you see value is almost negligible. So higher the interest rate, discounting on the money will be more. Why this is important? Because return on, if I am comparing a project, I have two investment options. One environmental project, another is a development project. Development project returns will be immediate. If I take higher interest rate, if I choose higher interest rate, my decision will be always in favor of development project. Return from environmental project will be delayed. They will start coming after 10 years, 15 years. Anyway, so we cannot complete this discussion. So maybe from next class we'll just stop it here. We'll continue this discussion maybe after we finish two more topics. So Pankaj will be taking those two topics. One is related to global environmental pollution and another is related to EIA, environmental impact. We'll continue when I come back to this class and start the discussion. Thank you. Thank you very much.
वो जो स्टडी वाले जो क्वेश्चंस आप अभी माइनर उसमें ऐड में चार्ज करते कोई भी क्वेश्चन
How are you?
नाम क्या जगह का बताना
नो आइडिया इसी तरफ ठीक है निकल जाओ आगे जा रहे हैं लिप्सी के बाहर
स्टडी करते हैं कि जो भी रिसोर्सेज हैं
हाँ
वो ख़त्म होने वाली है,
हाँ
तो उसको रोकने के लिए इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर यूज़ करते हो, तो लिमिटेड यूज़ किया जाए।
हाँ
अगर मैं बोलूँ कि रिसोर्सेज ऐसे ही ख़त्म होने वाली है तो
एंडोमेंट इकोनॉमिक्स जो है वो स्लाइटली डिफरेंट एरिया है।
पॉपुलेशन बढ़ रहा है,
हाँ
रिसोर्सेज कम होते जा रहे हैं।
हाँ, तो हम उसके बारे में डिस्कशन करेंगे, ठीक है। कि जब ये वाला टॉपिक ख़त्म हो जाएगा
हाँ।
तब हम डिस्कशन करेंगे। इसलिए इसमें बहुत सारी थ्योरीज हैं।
एक और चीज़ है
हाँ
कि जब पॉपुलेशन ख़त्म हो, रिसोर्सेज ख़त्म होंगे एक टाइम पे,
हाँ
तब पॉपुलेशन भी ख़त्म होंगे।
हाँ, तो ये जो थ्योरी तुम वो कह रहे हो, ये एक माल्थ्यूस करके एक इकोनॉमिस्ट हुए थे, और उन्होंने ये थ्योरी दी कि या तो हम कंट्रोल कर लें, हम यदि कंट्रोल नहीं करेंगे तो नेचुरली कंट्रोल हो जाएगा।
नेचुरल कंट्रोल होंगे, ऑब्वियसली होंगे। देखिए यहाँ पर ऐसे नहीं मारे जाएंगे भूखे,
हाँ
यहाँ पर बॉम्ब वगैरह यूज होंगे।
तो ठीक है, उसको कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होगा, कुछ भी होगा, बट इसके बहुत ऑल्टरनेटिव थ्योरीज है इसका।
दिस इज नॉट ए थ्योरी,
हाँ
दिस इज रियलिटी। मैंने जब एक चीज़ विश्वास किया नहीं था, जब मुझे पता चला कि जैसे आप मानो या ना मानो, बस एक टाइम पे प्रूफ हो जाएगा कि जब वो पूरा साइकिल चल रहा था, जैसे सुबह होती है वैसे रात होती है, वैसे जो पूरा चक्र है 5000 साल का होता है। हम लोग अभी बात कर रहे हैं, अब से 5000 साल पहले हम बात कर चुके हैं ऑलरेडी, सेम टू सेम। अब से 5000 साल बाद भी बात करेंगे, सबको रिपीट होता है। तो जब पूरा 800 करोड़ बढ़ जाएंगे, क्योंकि हमको बॉडी को चलाने वाला कौन है? एक आत्मा ही चलाती है ना। और आत्मा को जन्म कौन देता है? ये परमात्मा देता है।
ये इसीलिए जो हमारा जो, इसीलिए मैं अभी जब लास्ट में बात करूँगा तो डिफरेंट व्यूज ऑन डेवलपमेंट इस पर हम बात करेंगे।
ये पर आप सेंटर करोगे?
हाँ
ब्रह्मा कुमारी सेंटर।
अच्छा, हम घुमाया, हम चल सकते हैं अभी। हाँ
एक्चुअली मैं भी ये सोचता था कि ये लोग झूठ बोल रहे हैं। अंटिल अंदर जब मैंने खुद एक बार योग किया, क्योंकि आप प्रूफ कैसे करोगे कि वो भगवान सही में आए हुए? प्रूफ कैसे करोगे? मैं तो आपको इसलिए समझा रहा हूँ क्योंकि आप जेन्युइनली बहुत धीरे से रिसर्च कर रहे हो। अगर आपको मैं रियलिटी बता दूंगा, आगे जाके ऐसे कुछ नहीं, प्रूफ नहीं होगा, बिल्कुल तब लास्ट में प्रूफ होगा। वो आए थे 1936 में, ऐसे उनके पास कोई बॉडी तो है नहीं कि वो प्रूफ करके दिखा रहे कि मैं आया हूँ। तो क्योंकि हम जैसे तोली कि तोली है, जब वो आए थे तो उसकी एक के तन में आके उन्होंने ज्ञान दिया था 1936 से 1939 69 तक।
हाँ क्या हुआ? अरे
देख सर,
वो 33 कंटिन्यूसली ईयर, फिर उनका काम हो गया। तो ये जो चल रहा है लास्ट में 12 ईयर खत्म हुए हैं, ये आसपास नो आइडिया।
तो ठीक है, हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे।
हम ये ओपनली डिस्कस नहीं करेंगे, ये तो आपको खुद ही प्रूफ
अभी अभी जो एक्चुअली हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन है,
नहीं अभी मेरे पास फोन नहीं करना है।